A headline from the Washington Post for every day of January 2018. It sure looks as if Kristen Gillibrand is running for president. President Trump has made 1,950 false or misleading claims over 347 days. The NSA's top talent is leaving because of low pay and flagging morale. Steve Bannon, calling Trump a great man, says he still supports him in first comments after eruption. Mercer issues rare public rebuke of former ally Bannon. Trump boasts that he's like really smart and a very stable genius amid questions over his mental fitness. Official who improperly helped Redskins owner cut down trees picked as National Park Service deputy director. 200,000 Salvadorans will be forced to leave the U.S. or face deportation as Trump administration ends immigration protection. It's on Republicans to stop a shutdown. 55 minutes at the table. Trump tries to negotiate and prove stability. Missouri Governor Eric Greitens admits extramarital affair but denies reports he blackmailed woman with nude photo. Trump attacks protections for immigrants from shithole countries in Oval Office meeting. Trump's vulgarity. Overt racism or a president who says what many think. Many of the 24-year-old Trump campaign workers appointed to help lead the government's drug policy office. Hawaii missile alert. How one employee pushed the wrong button and caused a wave of panic. Inside the tense, profane White House meeting on immigration. The truth about the FBI's Russia probe. Trump tweets create confusion for Republicans trying to avert government shutdown. Comey to teach course on ethical leadership for College of William and Mary. Congress returns to work as lawmakers press to keep shutdown short-lived. Stormy Daniels, star of the latest Trump sideshow, took her act to a strip club. It was a scene. Women and independents drive advantage for Democrats ahead of midterm elections, says poll. The Trump evangelicals have lost their gag reflex. Trump asked the acting FBI director whom he voted for during Oval Office meeting. Trump says he would speak to Mueller under oath in Russia investigation. Trump moved to fire special counsel Mueller in June, bringing the White House's top lawyer to the brink of quitting. Some Americans are afraid to explore their own country, concerns that evoke the Jim Crow-era Green Book. Trump sought release of classified Russia memo, putting him at odds with Justice Department. He's not God. In the wake of porn star allegations, most evangelicals stand by Trump. How a classified 4-page Russia memo triggered a political firestorm. Justice Department officials appealed to White House to halt release of memo alleging FBI abuses related to author of Trump dossier. A headline for every day of February 2018. The Nunes fiasco grows more preposterous by the hour. Devin Nunes is acting like a partisan hack. That's just how I remember him. Justice Department told court of sources' political influence in request to wiretap ex-Trump campaign aide, officials say. Once the party of law and order, Republicans are now challenging it. Think California politics is on the far left fringe? Just wait for the next elections. Reality is catching up with Trump, everywhere. Trump's marching orders to the Pentagon. Plan a grand military parade. Improving poll numbers give Republicans hope that the midterms might not be so bad. Dozens at White House lack permanent security clearances. As Jared Kushner's security clearance is delayed, White House hesitates to act on others with possible problems. The Ivanka Trump of North Korea captivates people in the South at the Olympics. In big reversal, new Trump budget will give up on longtime Republican goal of eliminating deficit. Rob Porter is my ex-husband. Here's what you should know about abuse. Christopher Steele is a hero, and Americans owe him their thanks. He died a hero, assistant football coach among 17 dead in Florida school shooting. No, there haven't been 18 school shootings in 2018. That number is flat wrong. What Trump still doesn't get about Russian interference in the election. They are laughing their asses off in Moscow. Trump takes on the FBI and Russia probe in 2016 election. Why Facebook is afraid of Robert Mueller. Don't blame Washington, blame the GOP. Florida House refuses to debate guns, declares porn dangerous. Disney workers accuse company of withholding their Trump tax cut bonuses. Armed sheriff's deputy stayed outside Florida school while mass killing took place. Scripted controversy. CNN releases emails of correspondence with Florida student. Russian spies hacked the Olympics and tried to make it look like North Korea did it, U.S. officials say. Supreme Court declines Trump request to take up DACA controversy now. State Department point man on North Korea Joe Yun to retire Friday. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf tipped off immigrants about ICE raid and isn't sorry she did. A headline for every day of March 2018. Mueller investigation examining Trump's apparent efforts to oust Sessions in July. Jared has faded, inside the 28 days of tumult that left Kushner badly diminished. Shortly before Trump announced tariffs, his former advisor dumped millions in steel-related stocks. Pure madness. Dark days inside the White House as Trump shocks and rages. 10 years after financial crisis, Senate prepares to roll back banking rules. The anti-Trump Oscars were a ratings disaster. Conservatives are delighted. How the Washington establishment is losing out to little-known Trump advisors on trade. Mueller gathers evidence that 2017 Seychelles meeting was effort to establish back channel to Kremlin. Trump's North Korea gambit blindsides U.S. diplomats. In Trump's decision on North Korea, the world glimpses a president who is his own diplomat, negotiator, and strategist. At Pennsylvania rally, Trump again calls for the death penalty for drug dealers. Hillary Clinton says follow the money in the Trump-Putin relationship. Trump ousts Tillerson, will replace him as Secretary of State with CIA Chief Pompeo. Former Equifax executive charged with insider trading before data breach made public. In fundraising speech, Trump says he made up trade claim in meeting with Justin Trudeau. In a first, an undocumented immigrant is appointed to a statewide post in California. FBI's Andrew McCabe is fired just before retiring. Former deputy director became lightning rod for Clinton email and Russia probes. Trump rails against Mueller investigation, dismisses McCabe's notes as fake memos. 2 injured in explosion in Austin, police say. Stormy Daniels, not Robert Mueller, might spell Trump's doom. Austin bombing suspect dies after detonating explosive as SWAT team closed in, police say. Trump attorney John Dowd said to resign amid shakeup on legal team for Russia probe. The 2020 census received much more funding in the House spending bill than advocates had anticipated. The second most dangerous American. Trump friend says president told him to expect 1 or 2 more major personnel changes. Trump administration expels 60 Russian officers, shuts Seattle consulate in response to attack on former spy in Britain. California sues Trump administration over addition of citizenship question to census. Manafort associate had Russian intelligence ties during 2016 campaign, prosecutors say. We may know why Paul Manafort has kept quiet, but his bet is still risky. Coffee must carry cancer warning, California judge rules. Trump accuses Amazon of post office scam, falsely says the Post is its lobbyist. A headline for every day of April 2018. Sacramento sheriff's cruiser hits woman during Stephen Clark protest and speeds away, video shows. Trump proposed Putin visit Washington in March 20th phone call, Kremlin says. EPA explored private jet lease for Pruitt's travels last year. Mueller told Trump's attorney the president remains under investigation but is not currently a criminal target. Top EPA ethics official says he lacked key facts about Pruitt's condo rental. Koch network growing frustrated with the GOP's 2018 agenda. ICE raids meatpacking plant in rural Tennessee, 97 immigrants arrested. Dozens killed in apparent chemical weapons attack on civilians in eastern Ghouta, say rescue workers. We're in a battle to defend democracy, and Trump is on the wrong side. Trump attorney Cohen is being investigated for possible bank fraud and campaign finance violations. House Speaker Paul Ryan will not seek re-election, he tells friends and colleagues. GOP campaign seeks to brand Comey a liar as he touts book critical of Trump. James Comey's memoir, Trump fixates on proving lewd dossier allegations false. Damascus defiant as U.S. strikes prove more limited than feared. Trump assails Comey in tweet storm, suggests ex-FBI director deserves jail. The morning after Comey's interview airs, Trump throws another punch at the fired FBI director. Pruitt upgraded to a larger customized SUV with bullet-resistant seat covers. Nerves of steel. She calmly landed the Southwest flight, just as you'd expect of a former fighter pilot. After calling Barbara Bush an amazing racist, a professor taunts critics, "I will never be fired." Democratic Party files lawsuit alleging Russia, the Trump campaign, and WikiLeaks conspired to disrupt the 2016 campaign. North Korea says it will suspend nuclear and missile tests and shut down test site. Barbara Bush visited our facility for children with HIV and AIDS. It was unforgettable. No credible sightings at Waffle House shooting suspect as manhunt continues, police say. Tase me and you'll see what happens, an American Airlines passenger said. Police did, 10 times. Mick Mulvaney, Trump's rumored next chief of staff, admits he sold access to lobbyists while in Congress. Ronnie Jackson withdraws as nominee to lead Veterans Affairs after wave of misconduct allegations. Trump is running America just like his businesses, right into the ground. The new House GOP report on Russia is revealing, but not in a good way for Trump. At the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the buzz was reduced to a snore, until Michelle Wolf showed up. Ready, shoot, aim. President Trump's loyalty test causing hiring headaches. A headline for every day of May 2018. President Trump has made 3,001 false or misleading claims so far. White supremacist is guilty in Charlottesville parking garage beating of black man. Giuliani says Trump repaid attorney Cohen for Stormy Daniels settlement. Then they came for Peppa Pig. Trump thinks his North Korea strategy will work on Iran. He's wrong on both. SNL brings in Ben Stiller, Scarlett Johansson, Stormy Daniels, and more for star-studded cold open. Rudy Giuliani is repeating 7 mistakes that brought down previous Trump advisors. The West Virginia primary shows Trump's election was no aberration. North Korea releases 3 American prisoners in apparent goodwill gesture ahead of a planned summit between Trump and Kim. Israel launches massive military strike against Iranian targets in Syria. AT&T CEO says hiring Trump lawyer Michael Cohen was a big mistake. John McCain is the single greatest political leader of our time. In wide-open 2020 presidential field, Democrats are road testing messages and trying to redefine their party. Israelis killed dozens of Palestinians in Gaza protesting U.S. Embassy move to Jerusalem. Nothing says peace like 58 dead Palestinians. Thousands of pages of congressional testimony shed light on 2016 Trump Tower meeting. New York Times acknowledges it buried the lead in pre-election Russia-Trump story. At least 8 killed in shooting at Texas high school, sheriff says. Secret FBI source for Russia investigation met with 3 Trump advisors during campaign. Oliver North, incoming NRA chief, blames school shootings on culture of violence. Is Rod Rosenstein being too soft on Trump? Who is Stephen A. Halper, the FBI source who assisted the Russia investigation? State Department warns U.S. citizens in China after employee suffers possible sonic attack. Trump cancels Singapore nuclear summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. After summit pullout, South Korea and China have little appetite for Trump's maximum pressure. Trump's actions on North Korea have consequences. Here's a list of them. DHS to issue 15,000 more guest worker visas amid clamor over labor shortage. Trump is blaming Democrats for separating migrant families at the border. Here's why this isn't a surprise. Harvard study estimates thousands died in Puerto Rico due to Hurricane Maria. On Fox News, of all places, Trump's spy claim is debunked by Trey Gowdy and even Judge Napolitano. Judge imposes steel and aluminum tariffs on the European Union, Canada, and Mexico. A headline for every day of June 2018. Trump's trade policy is stuck in the 80s, the 1680s. A society ripped apart by full-frontal incivility. Trump thinks he's saving trade, the rest of the world thinks he's blowing it up. A historic exodus is leaving Venezuela without teachers, doctors, and electricians. Trump disinvites Philadelphia Eagles from White House visits, citing national anthem dispute. Republican investigation finds that Obama administration misled Congress on possible Iranian access to U.S. financial system. Mick Mulvaney fires all 25 members of Consumer Watchdog's advisory board. Anthony Bourdain has died at 61. Trump at G7 floats end to all tariffs, threatens major penalties for countries that don't agree. North Korea's Kim Jong-un arrives in Singapore for a historic summit with Trump. With smiles and a handshake, Trump and Kim could mask gulf on nuclear arms. Finally, a president with the guts to stand up to Canada. U.S., Mexico, and Canada win joint bid for 2026 World Cup, topping Morocco and FIFA vote. Republicans embrace the cult of Trump, ignoring warning signs. Trump allies seize on DOJ report as they seek to undercut Mueller probe. Trump cites as a negotiating tool his policy of separating immigrant children from their parents. Trump associate Roger Stone reveals new contact with Russian national during 2016 campaign. Separating children from their parents at the border breaks my heart. A reporter at the White House decided to play the audio of children sobbing. Somebody had to. Kirstjen Nielsen heckled by protesters at Mexican restaurant. Other diners applauded them. Trump says trade wars are easy. Here comes the first American casualties. The crying Honduran girl on the cover of Time was not separated from her mother, father says. Vote against the GOP this November. Why a small-town restaurant owner asked Sarah Huckabee Sanders to leave and would do it again. The last sign of political divide, shaming and shunning public officials. A poll commissioned by Bush and Biden shows Americans losing confidence in democracy. Crowley's loss leaves gaping void for next generation of Democratic leaders. Don't want a right-wing Supreme Court? Do everything you can to stop it. Behold the priest-kings of the future Supreme Court. Top Supreme Court prospect has argued presidents should not be distracted by investigations and lawsuits. A headline for every day of July 2018. North Korea working to conceal key aspects of its nuclear program, U.S. officials say. Keep the focus on Trump's cruelty and incompetence. New York Times reassigns reporter who dated Senate intelligence staffer at center of FBI probe. Trump claims Obama gave citizenship to 2,500 Iranians during nuclear deal talks. Liberal Democrats mount campaign against Trump's Supreme Court nominee by targeting 2 Republican senators. Most Americans oppose key parts of Trump immigration plans, including wall, limits on citizens bringing family to U.S., poll says. Secretary of State Pompeo leaves North Korea with promise of more talks, but no tangible breakthrough. Pompeo pushes back against North Korea's gangster-like criticism. Viciousness. Trump aides endure public fury towards president's policies. Brett Kavanaugh, Trump's Supreme Court pick, has sided with broad views of presidential powers. Trump says Germany is captive to Russia in fiery opening salvo against NATO. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh piled up credit card debt by purchasing Nationals tickets, White House says. Giuliani says Mueller probe results should be dismissed after Strzok testimony. After being told of Russia indictments, Trump still aspired to be friends with Putin. I hadn't thought of asking Putin to extradite indicted Russian agents, Trump says. Trump is now repaying Putin for helping him win the presidency. Very much counter to the plan, Trump defies advisors in embrace of Putin. In his prepared remarks, Trump removed a line about bringing election hackers to justice. As Russians describe verbal agreements at summit, U.S. officials scramble for clarity. God bless the deep state. Trump's Putin fallout, inside the White House's tumultuous week of walkbacks. With the release of new documents, Devin Nunes' memo on Carter Page has gotten even less credible. Anton's creed is not just racist, it is patently un-American. White House readies plan to extend about $12 billion in emergency aid to farmers caught in Trump's escalating trade war. No, the White House did not intentionally edit a question to Putin out of a video. U.S. allies have killed thousands of Yemeni civilians from the air. After 22 died at a wedding, one village asks, "Why us?" The economy's great. That doesn't mean Trumponomics is. Maria Butina is just the tip of the Russian iceberg. Trump says he called media enemy of the people in meeting with New York Times publisher. Rudy Giuliani just obliterated the goalposts on Trump-Russia collusion. U.S. spy agencies say North Korea is working on new missiles. A headline for every day of August 2018. Trump is leading a hate movement against the media. Why Trump is so freaked out by the Manafort trial. Sarah Huckabee Sanders indicts the media on bogus, trumped-up charges. The most bizarre thing I've ever been a part of, Trump panel found no voter fraud, ex-member says. Trump at a precarious moment in his presidency, privately brooding and publicly roaring. Saudi Arabia expels Canadian ambassador after Ottawa criticizes arrest of Saudi activists. Giuliani preparing letter to Mueller expressing real reluctance over obstruction questions. Democratic Party's liberal insurgency hits a wall in Midwest primaries. Nothing bodes well. Lackluster election results spark debate over Trump's midterm role. Witness in Mueller probe refuses to appear before grand jury. Are you sure there's not need to worry? Trump condemns all types of racism after a week of racially tinged remarks. FBI agent Peter Strzok fired over anti-Trump texts. Antifa protesters couldn't find any fascist at Unite the Right and harassed the press instead. I read 6 sycophantic pro-Trump books, and then I read Omarosa. Aretha Franklin's music, Queen of Soul, dies at 76. Revoke my security clearance too, Mr. President. How Trump's security clearance gambit could actually get him in deeper trouble with Mueller. ICE arrested a man driving his pregnant wife to give birth. She drove herself to the hospital. Giuliani tries to explain what he meant by truth isn't truth. Microsoft says it has found a Russian operation targeting U.S. political institutions. In Trump's right-wing media universe, it was a day like any other. DNC says suspected hack attempt turned out to be a security test. Thousands of Amazon workers receive food stamps. Now Bernie Sanders wants Amazon to pay up. These three illegal acts that may have helped Trump win the presidency. John McCain spent his life serving the dignity of his fellow man. Trump rejected plans for a White House statement praising McCain. President non grata. Trump often unwelcome and unwilling to perform basic rituals of the office. Trump says White House counsel Don McGahn will leave his job in the fall. Trump's team just took out one of the most dangerous terrorists since bin Laden. This is the new GOP, angry and afraid. A headline for every day of September 2018. Poll by sinking poll, Trump inches towards impeachment. McCain's funeral was a melancholy last hurrah for what's been lost in Trump era. Trump blasted lion Ted Cruz again and again. Activists want to remind Texans with a billboard. Hours before Kavanaugh nomination hearings, Bush lawyer releases 42,000 pages of documents to Judiciary Committee. Southern Republican senators reject Trump's criticism of Sessions. The sleeper cells have awoken. Trump and aides shaken by resistance op-ed. A never-ending cycle. Some aides work to slow walk or ignore Trump's directives. Leahy says Kavanaugh was not truthful about Democratic documents. At U.S. Open, power of Serena Williams and Naomi Osaka is overshadowed by an umpire's power play. GOP candidate for Florida governor spoke at racially charged events. Donald Trump Jr. says his father can't trust everyone around him after anonymous op-ed. Another hurricane is about to batter our coast. Trump is complicit. President Trump has made more than 5,000 false or misleading claims. Brett Kavanaugh misled the Senate under oath. I cannot support his nomination. Trump can start panicking now. Manafort will cooperate with the special counsel. Alarm grows inside FEMA as Administrator Brock Long fights for his job. Kavanaugh accuser willing to testify, her attorney says. Judge offers fresh denial. A former sex crimes prosecutor analyzed Ford's allegations against Kavanaugh. Here's her take. The Apprentice book excerpt. At CIA's Russia House, growing alarm about 2016 election interference. Republicans be forewarned, Kavanaugh's accuser has options. Conservatives divided over Kavanaugh allegations, mostly along gender lines. Kavanaugh accuser Christine Blasey Ford moved 3,000 miles to reinvent her life. It wasn't far enough. Incredibly frustrated. Inside the GOP effort to save Kavanaugh amid assault allegation. Rod Rosenstein, who has been overseeing Russia probe, has offered to resign. Trump says he has no plans to meet with Iranian leader at the UN. Kavanaugh's choir boy image on Fox interview rankles former Yale classmates. D.C. principal was taped mocking student sex assault claim, lawsuit says. The most telling moment. Kavanaugh goes after Senator Klobuchar. Details in Kavanaugh's 1982 calendar entry could be scrutinized in FBI investigation. It breeds resistance. Even among conservatives, Trump's use of presidential power causes alarm. A headline for every day of October 2018. Canada agrees to join trade accord with U.S. and Mexico, sending new NAFTA deal to Congress. The trauma for a man. Male fury and fear rises in GOP in defense of Kavanaugh. Republicans on Senate panel release explicit statement about Kavanaugh accuser's sex life. As FBI background check of Kavanaugh nears its end, probe appears to have been highly curtailed. We were Brett Kavanaugh's drinking buddies. We don't think he should be confirmed. Willing to go to the mat, how Trump and Republicans carried Kavanaugh to the cusp of confirmation. Turkey concludes Saudi journalist Khashoggi killed by murder team, sources say. The world has barely 10 years to get climate change under control, UN scientists say. Hillary Clinton says Trump turned Kavanaugh ceremony into a political rally. Saudis are said to have lain in wait for Jamal Khashoggi. Crown Prince sought to lure Khashoggi back to Saudi Arabia and detain him, U.S. intercepts show. Turks tell U.S. officials they have audio and video recordings that support conclusion Khashoggi was killed. Will you work for a murderer? That's the question a host of ex-generals, diplomats, and spies may soon face. After journalist vanishes, focus shifts to young prince's dark and bullying side. Warren releases DNA test suggesting distant Native American ancestor. Judge throws out Stormy Daniels' defamation lawsuit against Trump. MBS's rampaging anger will not silence questions about Jamal Khashoggi. What the Arab world needs most is free expression. Conservatives mount a whisper campaign smearing Khashoggi in defense of Trump. The Saudi explanation for Jamal Khashoggi's death is a fable. Still, Trump plays along. White House privately doubts Saudi account of journalist killing. Germany halts arms deal with Saudi Arabia, encourages allies to do the same. CIA director flies to Turkey amid growing controversy over Jamal Khashoggi killing. Potential explosive devices sent to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton intercepted by Secret Service. Trump doubles down on blaming media as suspicious packages continue to surface. Man in Florida arrested in connection with mail bombs sent to public figures, official says. The mail bomb suspect's van annotated. What is happening to our country? He is not welcome here. Thousands support Pittsburgh Jewish leaders calling on Trump to denounce white nationalism. Don't fall for Trump's desperate race-baiting birthright citizenship stunt. Trump's proposal to end birthright citizenship is unconstitutional. A headline from every day of November 2018. Trump revives Willie Horton tactic with ad linking illegal immigrant killer to Democrats. White House concerned Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke violated federal rules. Amazon is in advanced talks about putting second headquarters in Northern Virginia, those close to process say. Could losing the House actually help Trump in 2020? Defensive, caravan fixated, and Trump obsessed, the media blows it again, just not as badly. Buckle up, the Mueller investigation may once again take center stage. Some Democrats are complaining about the Senate popular vote. It's still not a thing. Attorney General Jeff Sessions resigns at Trump's request. In revealing new memoir, Michelle Obama candidly shares her story. Trump administration to end refueling for Saudi coalition aircraft in Yemen. The day the guns fell silent. Trump calls for halting recounts in Florida races for governor and Senate. Trump is preparing to remove Kirstjen Nielsen as Homeland Security Secretary, aides say. Scientists acknowledge key errors in study of how fast the oceans are warming. Federal judge gives Florida voters until Saturday to correct signature problems roiling close races. Julian Assange has been charged, prosecutors reveal an inadvertent court filing. CIA concludes Saudi Crown Prince ordered Jamal Khashoggi's assassination. Nothing on this page is real. How lies become truth in online America. Anti-vaccination stronghold in North Carolina hit with state's worst chickenpox outbreak in 2 decades. Ivanka Trump used a personal email account to send hundreds of emails about government business last year. Former Bush Attorney General Alberto Gonzales rebukes Trump for reportedly seeking to prosecute Clinton and Comey. Trump contradicts CIA on killing of Khashoggi, says agency had feelings, but did not firmly place blame on Saudi Crown Prince. Democrats must hold Trump accountable on Saudi Arabia, Adam Schiff explains how. Major Trump administration climate report says damages are intensifying across the country. Ex-Trump campaign aide George Papadopoulos must report to prison Monday, judge orders. GM to lay off 15% of salaried workers, halt production at 5 plants in U.S. and Canada. Could Robert Mueller be about to tell us something big? Giuliani's bizarre bragging about the Manafort-Trump alliance raises new obstruction questions. The stunning implications of the Manafort-Trump pipeline. Trump's inner circle has always been a cesspool. A headline from every single day of December 2018. George H.W. Bush's Oval Office note to me revealed the heart of who he was. Israeli police recommend charging Netanyahu in third corruption case. The Democratic world could feel the heat from Paris. Did Trump obstruct justice in public on Monday? Mueller seeks no prison time for National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, citing his substantial assistance. Bush funeral. Trump sits with fellow presidents but still stands alone. Rex Tillerson on Trump. Undisciplined, doesn't like to read, and tries to do illegal things. The latest filings show that nobody can save Trump now. Siege warfare. Republican anxiety spikes as Trump faces growing legal and political perils. Alleged Russian agent Maria Butina poised to plead guilty in case involving suspected Kremlin attempts to influence NRA. Kellyanne Conway says Rep-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't seem to know much about anything. Pompeo challenges accuracy of reports that CIA is confident of Saudi prince's involvement in Khashoggi death. Trump and Democrats can reach a deal on the wall if they have the spine to take it. Trump's claim that he didn't violate campaign finance law is weak and dangerous. Schiff says House Intelligence Panel will examine possible foreign funding of Trump's inaugural committee. As Trump prepares for his holiday respite in Florida, he is more isolated than ever. New report on Russian disinformation prepared for the Senate shows the operation's scale and sweep. White House signals it will back down on President Trump's demand for border and wall funding and avert a partial government shutdown. Trump administration plans to pull U.S. troops from Syria immediately, defense official says. Putin backs Trump's move to withdraw U.S. troops from Syria, says Islamic State dealt serious blows. A tailspin. Under siege, Trump propels the government and markets into crisis. A tumultuous week began with a phone call between Trump and the Turkish president. Indonesia tsunami kills at least 222 after striking without warning. Treasury Secretary startles Wall Street with unusual pre-Christmas calls to top bank CEOs. I am all alone. An isolated Trump unleashes a storm of Yuletide gloom. Economic growth is slowing all around the world. Trump claims without evidence that most of the people not getting paid in partial government shutdowns are Democrats. Trump did what he always does and changed his mind. Why was Congress surprised? The Trump team just gave weird, insulting advice to furloughed federal workers who can't make rent. Trump's tweets on children dying in U.S. custody are a new low. Senator Elizabeth Warren says she will seek the presidency in 2020.